the hierarchy of directives. This comes straight from some procedures they had in World War II. Okay, this is intensely important for you becoming better at your sport and winning more often. And I'll explain why, but I want to go over the roots, the history of it first. So in World War II, all our pilots that we had in the air had a very specific problem called they would go so far sometimes to do these missions that they couldn't communicate back with the base. And so it became really obvious to the people that run the wars, the generals and four-star general, I don't know who runs a war, but it became obvious to them they had to have some set of directions for if the pilot couldn't get a hold of the base and say, what do? I see this thing. What should I do with it? Should I blow it up? Should I let it go? Should I stay here and watch it? So they came up with a hierarchy of directives, and that's where I got the ideas from smart people many, many years ago. The hierarchy of directives for pilots in World War II went, first of all, the most important thing that we are trying to do is we're trying to win the war. So no matter what it is you see or become aware of, if it can help us win the war, you go do it. Now, very important, but second to winning the war, was to get back safely. So they said, whatever it takes to win the war, you do it. We sure hope you come back safely. Try your best to do that, because these are both incredibly important. But if you had to choose between the two, you go win the war. Third, and again, incredibly important. They're not saying important, sorta, doesn't matter. They know these are all important. They're just saying if you have to make a choice, this is how you value each of these things. So the also very important thing, but third on the list, was to bring the plane back safely. Now, planes didn't cost as much back then as they do now, but they were still incredibly expensive. Planes have never been cheap. So this is also amazingly important. But they said, you win the war first. We sure hope you come back safe, and we'd really like you to bring the plane back, okay? And so that was how pilots were able to make decisions that fit the focus, that fit the direction the war was trying to be taken by the people in charge. And so I've created one of those for sports, for volleyball, based on how I've seen people that are good think. And our hierarchy of directives looks like this. First, again, all incredibly important. The most important thing you do is you improve. Second most important thing you do is you compete to win. And the third most important thing you do is to enjoy the process along the way. Now again, just like bringing the plane back safely, very expensive, hard to replace, we don't want to be without our plane. I don't want you to be out without fun. You should be passionate about your sport and enjoy practicing it, much less competing. It should be awesome. But if you had to choose, the most important thing you do is improve every single day. The second most important thing you do is compete to win. And the third most important thing you do is enjoy the process. It did not start out like this for you. For anybody. We all started playing sports when we were younger because they were fun. If sports weren't fun, you wouldn't be here right now. There are plenty of people that didn't have fun in sports. They're not playing sports. Hopefully they're doing something else, but they're not doing sports because it wasn't fun. But at some point along the way, you and many other people have realized winning's really important. And so winning became maybe more important than having fun. Maybe the only way you could have fun was winning. I'm not going to tell you your thoughts and your opinions, but there's a decent chance you went through that phase. Now, there's one more iteration, there's one more level of maturity that, again, the best people always come to the conclusion this is the way it works. And you couldn't walk up to and ask most of them. They haven't really done the thinking in the organization. I'm a weirdo. I'm a freak. I think about this stuff all the time because if kids know it, if kids can organize their mind like this, they start to resemble other amazing players. So I've gone out of my way to create these things that resemble other players and put them in English so that you can have this information, own it, and use it to your advantage. So the last level of the last iteration, the last level of maturity is when you realize that improvement is your number one thing. Let me give you some proof as to why. Number one, you're playing a team that is way, way better than you. You're going to get crushed. If your main focus was to win, as many people's is, if their main focus is to win, they give up on those days. Those are amazing reps. There's a team that is better than you. Role models, really, whether they're jerks or nice, if they're doing stuff better than you are, you should be watching them and learning from them. You should be testing your stuff against them to see how well it works, and then trying something else until you find something that works. So the next time you see them, you're more effective against these guys that are so much better than you. But if your main thing is to win, well, then people just tend to give up. Like, well, what's the point? I'll tell you what the point is. The best people are constantly improving. Oh, how about this one? I don't know what your experience is like in volleyball, but when I coached high school, we tended to be the best thing around. And our league could not support a team like us. But we had to play the league in order to get in the playoffs, so we would just go and just crush, slap people around, just beat the heck out of people in high school, until finally playoffs came. Then we could start to play against teams that challenged us a little bit, or a lot. Well, if your main focus was to win, and you know walking in the gym you're automatically going to win, you waste all that rep time. I would have my teams intentionally miss serves just so we got to practice serve receive. The teams we played were so bad. I don't want to insult those teams. I want to show you that my main focus has always been to get my athletes to improve, because I realize this is how the best people are doing it. If you're wasting contacts with other teams, beating the heck out of them or getting beaten by them and not bothering to improve on those days, other teams that are challenged when they play more often than you are getting better faster than you. You have to focus on improvement first. You must. You don't have to believe me, but this is the way the best players are doing it. So this hierarchy of directives started out in World War II. I just made it more clear for sports. I would highly suggest you think about, how are you doing your sport right now? Here's especially for girls. There's a lot of practices I attend when I help other coaches or show other clubs how to do things a little bit better. There are a lot of practices with a lot of giggling. And giggling's okay, except it's usually code between girls. Let's have fun instead of working so hard. Let's giggle a little bit and get distracted and lose our focus a little bit. Now, this isn't just a girl thing. Dudes do it too, especially when they don't have a lot of respect for the coach that has them. But when you're having fun first, when you're giggling, you're probably not competing to win very well, and you're certainly not improving because your focus is on the fun. Now, again, I am not saying not to have fun. You have got to have fun to become amazing. You can't hate every second of practice and get good and continue to do that forever. Fun is super incredibly important. It's also the third on the list. Not the first, improve, not the second. Compete to win all the time. Make sure you're enjoying the process as often and as much as possible. Think about it. How often are you valuing fun over the other two? How often do you get distracted by the win, whether that helps you or hurts you, and forget to improve? Have you ever played it safe at the end of a match, at the end of a game, in order to get the win? Like, play it safe, I don't want to miss. And then you end up losing? It's because you lost your focus on improvement. If you improve all the time, you may win, you may not, but you're always more prepared for the next time around. If you learn to play it safe, whether you win or you lose, you're not more prepared. You're just more prepared to play it safe. I'm telling you, it's hard to get until you get it. It's hard to understand. It's hard to embrace until you've been beaten down enough by enough people that you go, I have to constantly, as fast as I can, improve all the time, period. That's number one. And then you got to make a choice. Am I going to win first or have fun first? Well, you know what? You may already be annoyed by people on your team that you can tell value the fun over some other things. And if you're the person that's valuing the fun over things, there's a good chance you're annoying the more serious players on your team. I want you to be amazing. I want you to beat people. I want you to be in control of your own success and improvement. The hierarchy of directives. Take a look at it. Never let it leave your head, and organize your brain this way. and you will get better faster.